Welcome to the show, everyone. I'm kind of running solo tonight. Yep, there we go. I'm running solo tonight. Dave is predisposed, but Kseniya's in tonight, and we are going to be talking about she's doing a push to build a tiny home village for the homeless in Salt Lake. Correct?
Yes.
All right, let's move this down a little bit. Can't block the face. And so I just want to talk about what hurdles have you had to jump through. What I'd like to do tonight is talk about what hurdles you've had to jump through so that if anyone else in another city or town or county wants to do something similar, they kind of have a cheater roadmap through you. You see what I'm saying? Does that sound good?
Thank you.
All right. So tell us about the tiny home village you're looking at.
Well, I mean, the whole thing is kind of a giant hurdle. It's probably one of the more difficult projects that we can tackle right now, primarily because there are all these zoning restrictions that prohibit camping or prohibit multiple people being on specific land. And
it prohibits how many people can occupy an acre. Exactly. Not within the same house. Yeah. Not within the same family. Prohibits the access to sewage and all that. Exactly. Within structures. So what have you guys done to mitigate that, or what are you doing?
So we are working actively with our state and local representatives in order to advocate for this as a solution. And just to preface, my name is Kseniya. I'm the executive director of the newly formed nonprofit called the Nomad Alliance. Mm-hmm. And we have been doing all of these really ginormous, that's technical term, supply drives every week, providing tents and sleeping bags and warmth and meals and dry non-perishable food, hygiene, whatever, sterno stoves, whatever they may need. We gave someone a carpet yesterday. A guy came up, he's like, "Oh, do you have a carpet?" It's like, "Yeah." "Oh, do you have sterno or propane?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Wow, you guys have everything."
Yeah, you guys are doing a lot. I mean, you're out there a couple times a week. Yeah. You're serving hot meals.
Hot meals. We do breakfast, and we also are branching out into employment. We recently placed.
Okay, hold off on that.
Okay, we'll talk about that later. Okay.
I want to dig into this employment thing. I've been following you on that, and I want to hear what you're going on that. But let's dig into this tiny homes. Yes. I really want to lay a roadmap out. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the reason why we started. We realized that this is a solution is because we feel like Sisyphus out there. We're constantly replacing tents and sleeping bags after the abatements, and I'm sure you heard there was a woman that recently died from carbon monoxide poisoning.
What were they using to heat their
coal and a little like barbecue?
Oh goodness!
And this was a project by Darren Mann of the Village Cooperative, and he had set up an unsheltered community and camp in front of his house, and had gotten some really great press about, just emphasizing how the community needs to come together for these humans because the government's failing. And yet, he didn't realize that they were doing this. And her boyfriend, he almost passed as well, but he was luckily saved. And he had to go through, the tank and be in the chamber for a while. Mm-hmm. But, tents are not the solution, even though we're giving out tents. What is the solutions for a place for these people to go? With these abatements, people are constantly shuffled from one place to another.
Now the abatement is when they have a camp set up. Mm-hmm. Notice goes out that tomorrow we're coming through and you guys need to leave.
Yes. Okay. Sometimes they give them some time. Sometimes they're social workers. I have never, with all of the nomads that we work with, I've never seen them actually get help and be placed right before an abatement.
Oh, I've seen them get help
We don't get help, yes, but
from
right.
you.
Oh, thank you.
No,
Yeah.
no. You're talking about how the government can help.
Yeah, well,
We've chatted
reportedly
before.
they're bringing people in to help place them,
We've-
and yet
We've
I don't
chatted
see it.
before. You know my feeling on the government. The government is never there to help. They're there to ruin and destroy.
And spend our money.
Steal it first.
Yeah.
But you guys are there helping, and part of this building the tiny home village. Have you guys got locations?
Yes,
set up?
we're scouting locations. We just had Chris Wharton, a council member, come with us on our Nomad Supply Drive yesterday. He's a second council person. Amy Fowler, the chair of the city council.
No,
came
this
out with
is
us.
Salt Lake City.
Salt Lake City. Hmm.
Okay.
And he basically told us that we may have to work to rezone land, and that there isn't any space in Salt Lake City available, and we may have to look outside of the city.
Well, imagine. I mean, if you could build a village, even if it is outside of the city,
Yeah.
where you've got structures that they can start. Not all of them, obviously, are going to, start their life over there. But those that have that ability, you'll be fast tracking them through giving them a place that they can organize, a place they can work at. What's the deal? Can you have like a community shower and
Yeah.
facilities?
Yeah, so our plan is to create an initial 20 homes for a cost of about $8,000 using a lot of donated labor and lumber. There's a lot of homeless people out there in the trades with skills. They can't keep their tools because they're stolen from their tents. They don't have reliable transportation to get from point A to point B. So all that's left for them is just to be stuck in this demented circle. And so we would love to use their labor to be able to build a home for their own. And then we envision a community center that has showers. So everyone, we would love for everyone to have their own personal composting toilet and solar power to run a little mini fridge and a little hot plate and some lights, and like a small AC and heater unit, so that they're completely off grid. So this community isn't a drain on the city's resources. And with Aaron Mendenhall really being big in favor of the greening of urban spaces and environmental action, we hope, Aaron, please listen, we hope that that this might be something that you're interested in. And the community center will also have little small meeting rooms for people to meet with service providers, therapists, that we can all send to one location to hit up maybe 8 people at once over a few days, or traveling dentists or nurses, or people that replace IDs, people from the homeless court that help them, get their warrants expunged. And then a community kitchen that we hope to create into a commercial kitchen. Because another big thing, and my partner on this project, our partner, along with other stakeholders, is Darren Mann with the Village Cooperative. He is a permaculture expert and a farmer. And he wants to create a big farm and a big garden so that the nomads also have a way to generate revenue by selling the produce through a CSA, through farmers markets, etc. And then they can use that produce and create meals and meal delivery services straight from their kitchens. So we want to be able to mitigate the drain of transportation services may have, or forcing people to go on a wild goose chase, which if you're down on your luck and you're on your last dime and you haven't slept that well, like getting around through public transportation from point A to point B to point C, point D to get your life together is just, it's almost impossible. So, and then another big thing, and this is my dream, is to create a workshop space, a workshop and an auto repair space.
Okay, before, because I want to dig into that, definitely. Okay, so the holdups you're having are on
land.
Well,
is
land,
zoning of the land,
and also the regulations, surrounding.
Yep. And then Chris Wharton said we might have to not just rezone, but create a completely new zone.
So invent a new zone
Yeah.
that's not commercial, not industrial, not residential, but
Yes.
maybe like a temporary use zone or something.
Yes.
And, throwing some ideas out. If you can get enough land that you could set it up where maybe you could see if local farmers want to host their farmers market from
Exactly.
there and things like that,
Yes.
things that you can draw attention to the area.
And that's what we're hoping with the workshop space, because as I said, there's a lot of skilled labor on the streets. It's being underutilized, and people can't keep track of their tools. So if they have a warehouse or a workshop where they can share tools, where members of the community can come in and repair a broken television with a skilled electrician, to have that unity between the homed and the formerly homeless population.
Yeah, you could have a
restore, recycle, reuse kind of.
yes, I like.
And a lot of other cities are looking at that in order to kind of reduce their.
I kind of wish you were coming in on Thursday also with our other lady, or you should watch it. Here in Tooele, with the homeless, there is, and I'll talk to you off air because I don't want to burst her bubble, but this lady that's running our resource center is a go-getter. She's making some magic happen, and we'll talk about it off air. But she's doing some stuff that is pretty amazing, and I think what's going on out here could be a model for maybe smaller towns. Would it work in a city? I'm sure it would, but cities have a lot more pressure on real estate. But let's talk about this workshop. You're looking at getting a workshop constructed
with donated tools and lumber and donated labor, adjacent to their tiny homes. So there'd be a little doorbell, if you want to talk, you meet with the welder or the carpenter, and then all they would have to do is just leave their tiny house and walk up to the workshop.
Have you thought about maybe just starting in an auto repair position where people would bring their car that needs work done, because that's a tool set that you could pick up.
So many mechanics have been begging me for work lately.
A couple $100, and then you charge. They bring the part with them, so you guys, you repair it. They bring the part. You repair it for a rate, and then some of the rate can go to the Nomad, the Nomad, or whoever
and then
works
the community
on it
as well to help fund this initiative.
Fund the welder next, or fund the a carpenter.
And we want to exactly. We want to have an apprenticeship program, to where people that are very skilled, but maybe their weather or their bodies are kind of worn out or they're disabled. We have a mechanic that's in a wheelchair who's brilliant, but he could train a younger nomad in the skill that can get them really, really good income.
Well, he could also diagnose.
Yeah. Exactly.
And that's a way you could help fund and support this system.
Yeah. Exactly. So we wanted, after the first initial investment, we're asking for $500,000, which is very small to construct something like this.
It is.
But we know that we can do it because we have incredibly talented people in the streets.
With $500,000 to throw it out, I mean, you could buy all the sheds at all the Home Depots in Utah and build a little village.
Yeah, we could.
You could. I don't know if you'd be able to set up a composting latrines yet right off the bat, but you could set up a communal composting latrine. You could do quite a bit with $500,000.
Yeah.
And as far as building a shop, I mean, imagine if you could find a piece of property with a barn already on it,
or a warehouse,
and then you just buy one of those big tool buckets, big tool lockers.
Exactly. And I talked to Chris Wharton, the representative or the council member, about maybe purchasing some commercial space and then working with the city to rezone that space to be partly residential. Yeah.
How would it be if you could buy one of those old dilapidated buildings there off of 600 or what have you? And, I mean, right now they buy them and they build a haunted house on them. But what if you could get one and you could build a shop that,
Exactly.
and then in the upper levels, you could build some apartments.
Exactly. The only problem, so let's talk about shelters really quick. So $500,000 seems like a lot of money, but the Pioneer Park Coalition, run by Scott Howell and others, he's my former boss, spent something like $80 million to construct 3 shelters. $80 million. I asked him, I'm like, what if we just gave that as like a bulk sum to every homeless person? What, there's like 3,000 in the
80 million, you could have bought
I know.
a lot of homes.
I know.
You could have said, oh,
Yeah.
you guys are the same age
Yeah.
range. You guys move in there.
Yeah. So to me,
You could have bought all the empty trailers in all of Utah.
yeah, exactly. To give every single person their own individual space. And we talked to there's tent settlements right across from shelters. The VOA Resource Center yelled at us because they said, oh, you're coming in. It's like you're creating this block party. It's fun. You give them all the tents they need, all the sleeping bags, all the clothes. You don't give them accountability, so they don't need to come inside and use our resources. And I asked them, well, what are you doing wrong that they don't want to use your services?
What costs?
Where is this disconnect?
What costs the 80 million? Because I know in Los Angeles they've been looking at different models to deal with the homeless, and every time it's looked into, it's full of graft and corruption, from the government to the contractor to the agents. They
spend something like $150,000 per tiny home. It's absurd.
Which is ridiculous, because you can buy a shed for $1,600 that'd fit a substantial shed.
Yeah.
And you could insulate it for another 600.
Well, there is an entire, and you probably understand, there's an entire economy of the wealthy making money off the poor, whether it's a banker making money off all of the withdrawals or the fees for someone
I don't
has
think
$3 in their account, to the government who, private prison industrial complex is a thing. These corporations make money off of institutionalized slavery that's just in our prison system.
Well, yeah, let's not talk about our vice president today. I believe that when you look at that, it's not that they seek out the poor, but they seek out those without any other option. They cover a monopoly over that service.
Yeah.
And what I like about what you've got going on is this is private people doing it.
Exactly. It's a community response to a government failure.
Well, the government hasn't failed. The government's doing what they're designed to do, in perpetuity, is turn gold into shit. But this is private people doing it. Now, Dave isn't here, so it's probably not fair that, I get to banter my anti-government stuff the whole time, but
it's okay. I like it.
It's half Dave's show.
I'm not a big fan of the government right now, even though we do need to partner with the government.
Well, you have to.
Execute this.
They hold the monopoly on violence.
And Jenny Wilson, she was my mentor. She was my very first boss. I freaking love her. I love Amy and Chris and all these people. There's a lot of really good people in government that are doing their best.
There is. It's when I say that, I'm not saying everyone in government is evil. I'm saying that the institution is
100%.
The idea behind it is corrupt. It's corrupt that you're born and you belong to it.
Yeah.
It's corrupt that. Yeah. Anyways, we don't need to go on a tangent just yet. I'll do that on another show. But so you're looking at finding some real estate, which is a hot commodity right now.
Hot commodity. Yeah.
The real estate cannot be so far away from civilization that they're left without their own. Otherwise, you could probably pick up some real estate over in Duchesne. I think it's $2,000 an acre right now.
Yeah, no, we've looked at some property that's kind of off the beaten track. And that is an opportunity. Some developer actually said, hey, if you're willing to build it like west of the city near Tooele, we know businesses would love to pitch in because they just don't want this eyesore or the criminal
Okay,
element
well,
or whatever it
there
is.
is that. There is that.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Well, you've got to look at it from both sides. But you want it close enough where you can get response, where you can get, possible water. Now, transportation
services.
for $500,000,
Yeah.
you can pick up a minivan.
That's true.
You
That's
know,
true.
and you can just say, hey, we'll have a shuttle service, or we'll let one of you guys earn your way onto the shuttle service, which is a paid job where you drive a van around.
Yeah.
And you'd probably want to lay whatever qualifications with that you feel like you need to. But there's lots of out of the box thinking you can go with. But I like that, and I like the building. I saw your message on there asking kind of general, what would it cost to equip a shop? If you went to equip a shop without a pointed goal, just that would eat up your 500,000. Easy. But if you had a pointed goal, we are going to do X. We're going to do auto repair.
Auto repair. That's
We're
number
going
one
to do
for me. Basic carpentry, woodworking.
Carpentry. Any of those, you could meet any of those for
Electrical work. Maybe.
for probably, I don't know, probably $1,500. You could meet those. Now the electrical one, I guess it depends on what you're talking electrical.
Okay. Like television repair.
That's not a thing anymore.
I know. And that's like that breaks my heart because like all these TVs, they take up so much space and they're just dumped in the dumpster.
Well, the old ones you used to be able to repair, but these new ones use a lot less materials to make. And that's a big benefit. Now, maybe if you guys could, out of the box, you guys could start some kind of recycling collection center.
Oh, that's brilliant.
And also the nomads are commonly known to collect recyclables.
Oh, yeah.
So they would be bringing the stuff back to their home to turn in for credit for you guys to turn around. But recyclables don't have a lot of value anymore.
No.
Everything's kind of dropped through the bottom for a while. So we'll see where that goes.
And China's no longer taking our plastic and
well, that's
stuff.
good because they were you heard about how they were doing it. We were paying them to recycle our plastic.
Oh, heard that.
And they weren't.
They were just dumping it.
You know that big island of plastic in the sea?
Pacific Island garbage patch, yeah.
Yeah. That comes from a specific place.
Yeah.
Because they were charging us to recycle it and they were not. But anyways, maybe if you set up the need, another business owner or entrepreneur will see that and find it in. So
especially for scrap metal. Metals are going through the roof right now.
I hope so.
Yeah.
They've been down for a long time. So what are the restrictions you guys are having with building these tiny homes?
So the restrictions, one is the zoning, and the acquiring of land. Two is getting enough corporate buy-in to be able to fund this outright. We've raised over 5,000. We've launched it just about a week ago, a lot of people are donating $10 and $20 and $100. It seems, across the board, the less money you have, the more generous you are. We very rarely pick up donations from the huge houses. But I've picked up from Rose Park countless times. So,
what about getting yourself listed on the annual donation drive that all businesses tend to do?
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to be working on that. So we
So
just
you get your name on the list, get
on the
knowledge
list.
out
That's
there.
a really good idea.
Okay.
Making a note. And we are submitting some grants applications to the Dunn Foundation, the Huntsman Cancer Institute. Kempsey Gardner, I've spoken to him. He's a big developer, and he funded the Policy Institute. I just talked to him earlier this week. So we are making inroads in order to kind of sell this concept. And it's not a new concept. Austin, Portland, Syracuse, New York, all these places have these tiny home communities for the homeless.
Well, Austin
they
doesn't
find it to
count.
be-
Austin cheated.
Did they?
Yeah, they don't have housing regulations like anywhere else.
Oh, damn fucking Austin. Why can't we?
Because Austin is a part of a free state. Not for long, but for right now.
Yeah, well, good for Austin. Their mobile loaves and fishes tiny home community has actually been really inspirational for us. So
Good. What do they have going on down there?
So they have like a canvas tents and motorhomes and tiny houses, and they've been able to actually. I think their tiny houses are actually really, really quite cheap the way that they've executed it and built it, and I'm really inspired. And you know, if they can do it, we can do it. This is the place. The city and our mayor's office in the state are getting pie in their face right now. There's been a lot of people calling, very upset with how we're treating our homeless. We are supposed to be the compassionate state. We're supposed to be the state that equalizes people in a way to help them. You know, our Bishop's Storehouse gives free food. It's like socialism, but in a church basket, but in a beautiful way where people give and give and give. And if all these other cities can do it, why can't we? You know?
Mm-hmm. I definitely hear you there. So, does Austin have, because I like that you're looking towards a means for it to maybe not right off the bat, but towards the end kind of pay for itself.
Oh, right off the bat, we have a plan that will pay for itself.
And that's
after the first initial investment, using the organic food that will be placed into a CSA that the nomads will grow, and then the shop space, and we can get it all funded. I know we can. We've run the numbers, and after the first initial investment, there really isn't. We don't have.
Then it will maintain itself.
It'll maintain itself.
Now,
and we want to use the nomads in order to help provide security, in order to help provide transportation, in order to help provide all of these other, positions that usually come in from the outside. But as we've seen with the hubris that we have spending all this taxpayer money on shelters that people don't want, where there's a lot of abuse and stealing and all sorts of things, like we have to come into this solution with a different lens. We've been working with the nomads, and we know that they get excited when they think about their own little space, that a little place.
Well,
to
and
put
it's
their
a
things.
safe space. Now,
It's a safe space.
not to sound like I'm a modern day tween, but now as far as say power, latrine facilities and what have you, would it be more efficient off the start to build those as a communal system? Maybe 2 latrine houses, one for ladies, one for gentlemen, with the showers and the facilities, and then on the power, would it be more efficient to build a larger solar array that would feed all the houses, but also maybe be tied into where maybe I don't know how Utah works it, but maybe you could sell some of the electricity for some
Brilliant.
profit also.
Brilliant. You want to be on the board?
No, you don't want me on the board.
No, but really, really, and we were talking about whether, maybe we'd just have a few large batteries in the community center that takes in all of the solar arrays, so every individual home doesn't have to have its own.
Yeah, well, and
battery.
it doesn't have to have that hazard. The batteries
Exactly.
are an intrinsic hazard.
They are.
And put the batteries away from sleeping people.
Yeah, exactly.
These people are already in a tentative enough position without putting anything that could harm them around there. Now, what about looking at some of the shed companies for constructing the tiny homes, or for buying the kits where the nomads can build them, because where they're mass produced, it might drive costs down.
Well, we are working with a Washington. We reached out to a company in Washington that supplied the new LA tiny house village with all of their tiny homes, and they've quoted us $8,000 to $10,500 based on the size and the amenities
For
one tiny home. So, and I know that we can use a shed and renovate it, but I think we can do it cheaper if we just build it outright, just the way that people want. Because the thing is on one of our Nomad supply drives, I went into a day shelter to use their toilet, and there's no doors on the bathrooms, and I had to do my business with 4 women watching me. And that's why I believe intrinsically that just at least having a place to do their business in their own private space can go so far to promoting
I agree with that.
the feeling that you're a human again.
You could we'll talk a little bit off air about different ideas on that.
Yeah.
We'll have a few minutes afterwards, but I want to see if there's any comments coming in. Hey, Tim, we need to have you on soon.
Hi, Jessica. Hi, Ben. Love you guys.
Tim's got to be freezing up there in New York right now. But yeah, so I like what you guys are doing. I like that it's private people coming together to get this problem solved. We'll give it a few minutes, see if anyone has any more comments, but I don't know if I want to be on the board, but I definitely want to offer any
Input,
assistance
please.
I can.
Yeah.
I'm already busy enough before trying to jump on to any boards.
We are working with a lot of experts. There's a man.
Yeah, and I am not an expert.
No, but you're an expert. And the thing about you is you are an out of the box thinker, hence you're doing all this.
Yeah, I'm a shit talker. But I want to see something like this succeed. I want to see multiple ideas tried.
And there's a lot of other groups working on this.
Yep.
And we are partnering with a man out of Springville, Matt Lenhart, and he had a news article about him where he just created out of his own hands and some donated supplies and wheelchair wheels a little cart for a homeless person to push around and sleep in at night. And
so like
their tents, almost like a little box. He has a few versions,
like a pushing camper.
Yeah, like a pushing camper, exactly.
Okay.
And one kind of slid out to provide like a little space for you to sleep, and then slid back in to collapse for transportation. And so he's helped provide us the numbers. His very first project with this little cart, I think, cost $800, free labor, donated materials. So we can do this very cheap. The $8,000, a lot of that is going to go to solar panels, composting toilet,
Yeah,
AC.
I would still do
Heater.
this. I would do the electricity, and that I would do that at a central location. I would do the power, not on the house.
Okay.
One, you can, you could probably get more bang for the buck. You could even get some of those sun tracking solar panels and more batteries.
And we can probably get huge, large arrays donated.
Yeah, huge, large arrays donated. There's a lot of things you can do. You could do one of those mirrored arrays where it collects a lot more of the sun, where a mirror collects more light and shoots at it.
Oh, that's brilliant.
and it's one place you have to try to maintain versus going house to house to maintain.
Them all.
So you only have to maintain one unit, one battery, and then a delivery spider versus this unit, this unit, this unit. And so you got that. I'd maybe go with 2 of them, have them, rotate in and out, however you do it.
Okay.
And then I would,
I'm taking notes.
I've got ideas for the latrines.
Yeah.
They've got, maybe have a communal shower.
We will definitely have communal showers.
A communal shower.
Definitely.
And you can build private showers into each one. That's relatively cost effective. That can be done. It's just effort by your part on that. For the latrine, you could use, they've got like camper commodes. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's the disgusting part about it.
You have to dump it.
Yes, it comes in you're shitting into a jerry can.
Yeah.
And then dragging a jerry can to a compost pile, whatever else. So,
well, I bet you a lot of people are out there shitting in bags. So
they are, some of them, and bags may be another opportunity for that. I would still have that as an option in each tiny home. But I would still have a community one where they can handle their business and it leaves and they don't have to carry it, because some of your nomads are in wheelchairs.
They are.
Imagine how they would have to transport that.
Yeah.
That means they would have to ride around with a sloshy bowl of soup on their lap. Okay. So give them a community thing. And I would, you can set it up so that each one of these units is built to a standard that a handicapped person would find amenable.
Exactly.
Handrails, all that stuff, and all these things you can make happen. Yeah. Heating. There's multiple ways you could heat it. You of course go electric. You can have you could have a hot water heater delivery system where it runs and then, it's buried underground, but then comes up into a radiator, like the radiator heat, like you see in older cities. There's lots of ways you can do that. It just depends on how much need you have. Electricity would probably be the easiest and most sustainable, but that then is a constant draw on
the solar panels.
During the winter when it's cloudy, when it's not producing as much.
And that was actually a big barrier for Benny, one of our nomads, to get a communicating with HR in order to solidify his work, is their access to a charger, is a solar charging station. And it was the middle of winter, lots of storms, and he just couldn't charge his phone. And so I had to go to his camp and you have him use my phone to talk to HR, make sure everything's going. And
well, you could have one simple outlet. In each house,
exactly.
maybe a 4-banger outlet, and then you could have a 4-banger outlet in each house, GFCI, with the ground could even communally ground into one grounding rod to save a little bit of cost, whichever's more expensive, sinking a rod or whatever. There's lots of things you could do. Now, as far as gardening, what would be your availability on a tractor to break the ground the first time, or every couple of years to rotate?
That's a question for Darren.
Okay.
I don't know anything about it.
Because, breaking ground by hand.
Yeah, it's intense.
Humans haven't done that in a couple thousand years.
Nope. You haven't seen my grandma.
You'd need horses to...
You haven't seen my grandma.
Okay, yeah. I have not seen your grandma.
Or Russia, and how we do it in Russia. And we all have gardens and little farms.
I promise you, Russia doesn't do it by hand anymore.
Well, the large agriculture.
Russia had some impressive tractors.
Yeah.
Very impressive, scary looking tractors.
I mean, the large swaths of land, yes. But
it was
own, private little.
They were ugly and, like everything else that Russia produced, except for their women. Their women are the most beautiful, but their equipment was god awful.
But at least it worked, right?
No, it did not.
Man, why are you shitting on my people?
And tell me about the Lada later.
Oh, the Lada.
You know,
It's probably the most popular car in Russia.
it's the best
Still.
car in Russia.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was you need some more or are you good? And it was a 50-year-old Fiat.
Oh, it's a Fiat? Oh, I didn't know that. Interesting. That makes sense. So hi, Tim. It's cold and looking forward to coming on. Hello
Yeah.
from New York.
Tim lives up in New York.
Scott Whitaker says, make some and are approved by the EPA. Composters are a thing. Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
our dream is to make composting toilet, and then we can use that waste in order to grow food.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. I agree. Yeah, I completely agree. You'll want to probably mix it with fallen leaves and then dry it. But anyways, no, this is
And
a good
any
idea.
one of you who thinks that, hey, I don't want my produce grown in shit, ask any farm, and most of the time they do use.
Well, a lot of bullshit, a lot of chicken shit. But
Yeah.
now if you buy any rice from Korea, that shall be human. But anyways, so you guys, it's the Nomad Alliance. It'll be in the show notes. Seek them out if you guys have
We have a GoFundMe.
any advice. Yeah, there's a GoFundMe. They're doing a lot of stuff. You can reach Kseniya directly. If you guys have ideas, they're in that phase when they're looking for those ideas. And
we want to execute quickly.
yeah, we want to help these people out. And the quicker the better, because
Yeah.
winter ain't over yet.
Winter's now, and the solution or the problem isn't getting any better.
Yeah.
We see each and every day people falling into homelessness as a result of COVID, and we don't know when this happens or when this will end. And the problem with COVID is also it prohibits and prevents them from going into shelters because people are afraid. So
There is
they're
a lot of that.
outside because they don't want to be using recycled air in the shelter. So a tiny house community is the solution, especially if there's also, all these other revenue generating things that are included, and the greening of urban spaces. The government's been talking about this for a long time. Let's do it. Let's do it.
And again, we lost one of them 2 weeks ago.
Exactly.
And
that's why we're even more committed to this.
that's kind of a stain on the psyche to lose one because they were seeking warmth during the dead of winter. So jump on there if you got any advice, anything you can offer to help. If you can donate money, donate money.
Yeah.
If you can donate time, donate time. If you can donate ideas, donate ideas.
Please.
Whatever you got.
Please. Our website's in the nomadalliance.org. And as for Brandy, the woman who recently passed, we are also doing a GoFundMe to raise money for her memorial and viewing and cremation services. We just did a memorial for her on Darren Mann's property where she passed with all of her friends, and we let release some balloons, and it was really, really beautiful. But the city will pay for the indigent to be cremated. But if you want to have a viewing service attached, then they will not pay for any of it, including the cremation. So we believe that every single person deserves to have a proper goodbye. Every person deserves to be highlighted for the impact they've made in all of our lives. So we will post both of those links, the tiny house community and Brandy's memorial service, as well as our website. We're always looking for donations of tents and sleeping bags and warm clothes, especially men's clothes, men's pants, men's shoes, warm shoes. Now we're entering mud season, so everything is wet. We're constantly replacing blankets because there's just no place for them to dry. There's no place for them to go and take it and wash it. So whatever you have, hygiene products, anything, we'll gladly take it. If it's just a donation, you can go to our website and make that donation. So thank you guys. Really, this is an opportunity to be better for the people that are the most forgotten. And I talk a lot about how, that India has a caste system, but so do we. The homeless are our untouchables, the very dregs of society that people don't even look at, don't want to just ignore, or they think they're just a blight on the sidewalk in front of a beautiful building. And that breaks my heart, because every single one of those humans deserves love, and they're just like us. They're just fallen on hard times. They don't have the friends and family that so many of us do in case we get into shit. So just I do lives. You can follow me, Kseniya Kniazeva, on Facebook. I do lives and give them a voice to speak their story and talk about how rough it really is to live out there. Yes, some of them have addiction, but I always say, you know what? If I was out there, I'd be on every single drug possible just to get through the day, and
good luck finding Kseniya by yourself. If you try to spell her first name, you'll go cross-eyed, and you won't be able to make it to her last name.
I know. It's a name that looks like it's going to stab you.
No, it's a name that looked like somebody's tongue fell out of their face. But look in the show notes. I'll make sure it's in there. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Thank you for joining us.
And
cheers to you.
Yeah, well,
and this is his beer. Look.
Yeah.
He just built it.
I built a beer holder. Yeah, some IPA I got fresh off the.
It's amazing.
Fresh out of the keg. But anyway, so yeah, reach out to them if you got ideas, aid, whatever you can do. Reach out and get the word out. If you're in another city and you're looking for ideas, or you've worked on ideas or anything else, especially reach out. Then reach out to ask for advice, whatever. It'd be cool if across the nation little groups popped up and they became kind of coalitions where they could figure it out together. They could do the melting pot of ideas that this nation is supposed to be. All right.
To that.
Thanks for joining us.
For having me on. Really appreciate you. Love you very much, dear friend.
Anytime.
Thank you.